telescope is an extension of its owner that allows us to peer into the universe to see nature on the grandest scale, with wonders that boggle the imagination. All right, this is Galaxy Log for November of 2022, and it's subtitled A Whale of a Night, meaning that with the telescope, I spent a lot of time in the great constellation of Cetus the Whale, and the galaxies that I'll be talking about that I observed through the telescope were all in Cetus. The first view of the night, though, is the Andromeda Galaxy, and it's with a pair of Celestron 10 by 60 binoculars. And it was funny. I never really had binoculars out very often. I thought, well, this would be good. You know, Andromeda's in a good location of the sky, and should get a good view with the binoculars. So I set the binoculars up on a nice mount that I have for it, an older mount, but it works really well with the binoculars, and got a tremendous view actually of the Andromeda Galaxy. And so I thought it was neat. It was really neat, and I thought to myself, then I got to use these more, you know, especially with a mount. You know, instead of being handheld, I think it'd be great with the mount, and it's easy to set up. So, you know, having it as a sidekick to the telescopes, I think is a good thing. As far as galaxies and through the telescope, the first one is NGC 936 in Cetus, and here's where it's located in Cetus. Easy to find. It also has a small galaxy nearby I'll also talk about, NGC 941. Here where they're located. And you can see 941 is much smaller and fainter from this Stellarium Web image. And here's my near view image. Okay, so the galaxy log date is 11/22/2022. Here are the particulars for these galaxies. NGC 936 is pretty bright. It's magnitude of 10.2. Decent surface brightness, 13.2. Fairly good size. Here's its type and its distance. 941 is much fainter. A low surface brightness galaxy, smaller, and it's a little farther away. First, here's a survey image of the two galaxies, and you can see there's that 936 is much brighter and larger. And so here's my near view image, and it was with a 12-inch f4 Dob. The eyepiece is a 6.5 millimeter. It gave me 185 magnification. Sky conditions that night were good. The transparency wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty good. It was more seeing. Seeing was kind of off and on. So you really had to be patient for seeing to settle down. As far as the view, this was a really cool galaxy to look at, 936. It's a bar, it's a face-in bar. It showed me a nice bright little stellar nucleus, nice little round core area, fairly bright, and then elongated, which is the bar structure. Not a thin bar, but a very thick bar, and then a very faint outer halo of the galaxy. So it was a really nice view. It really was, especially when seeing would calm down. There's moments, and I mentioned this before in the previous galaxy logs, about even on nights where the scene isn't very good, you want to be patient, because there are going to be moments. It could be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, even up to a minute, where the scene just really snaps and pretty good. And so you have to be patient with it. And then over here to the east was NGC 941. It's faint. it showed slightly, maybe towards the center, a little bit of a condensed area that was a bit brighter, but pretty much it was kind of a faint oval shape to it. But it made a nice view between the galaxies. But boy, I tell you, your eye really went over to 936. It's a really nice galaxy that can be seen in smaller telescopes. But I think that it's short, bringing out some detail with the galaxy. A little bit larger telescope is going to be needed. Our next galaxy is NGC 1087 in Cetus. Here's where it's located. Closer up view. 1087. And here's the near view image. Galaxy is at 10.9 mag, so it's fairly bright. Surface brightness isn't too bad at 13.1. Size is not too bad. Here's its type and its distance. Here's a image of 1087. And for this near view image, with the 12-inch f4 Dob, I used a 6.5 millimeter eyepiece, gave me 185 magnification. And it's funny, when I first tracked down the Galaxy with the telescope, with a lower power eyepiece, first thing it stuck out. It looked like the Crab Nebula. It actually looked like the Crab Nebula. It was funny how much it resembled the Crab Nebula. And but putting a little bit higher magnification eyepiece in with the 6.5 millimeter gave me a really nice view of this galaxy. It's an interesting galaxy. It showed a little bit of brightening in the middle and mottled in the middle. So you had these variations of brighter areas in the middle of the galaxy. And then it's kind of elongated, oval shape, going north to south, and faded out fairly fast towards the south. But the northern part seemed to hold a little more, seemed a little bit more size, or extend a little more, shall I say. But it's a neat galaxy. You could, no problem seeing it in a smaller telescope, but to bring out some of the detail, I thought the 12-inch did a good job with it and gave it a really nice view. There's a nice field also. These line of stars that go to the east of it kind of enhances the view a bit. But yeah, I really like this galaxy, and in the future, with my future 20-inch f3.5 Dob, I will want to redo this galaxy, and from even on a better night and even a darker location, and see what can come out of this galaxy. My last galaxy for this galaxy log is the amazing galaxy M77 in Cetus. I've done in the past M77 in galaxy log, but with a much smaller telescope, with the 120 millimeter ED refractor, which gave a great view. It really does. It's a bright galaxy. So, but I happened to be in the area when I was viewing 1087. I thought, well, let's see what M77 looks like, and I started playing around with magnification and so on, and I got some interesting and really good results, that we say. So as you can see, M77 is real close by to where we've been with this entire galaxy log, other than the Andromeda Galaxy through the binoculars. Close up view of M77 is easy to find, and particulars of it's a very bright galaxy, one of the brightest galaxies in the sky. It's 8.9 magnitude, high surface brightness, size, its type, and its distance. Here's an image of it, and you can see there's this bright inner part. You have the core area and this brighter inner part of the galaxy, and then this huge ring around it, which I did not see. So for the near view image with the 12-inch f4 Dob, as I said, I was experimenting with different eyepieces, and I thought, wow, I was getting at this moment some really good steady seeing. So the 3.5 eyepiece at 343 magnification gave us an interesting view. Particularly with really studying the galaxy, using averted vision, and so on. But first thing to note was a very bright stellar core, and then this oblong or oval-shaped inner region that was pretty mottled. And then this region here, the inner arms, which is this part here in the photograph. So I'm seeing that. And with the moments when the best seeing and really concentrating on what I was doing, you could actually see some arm structure, some inner arm structure. So it really was a great view. And like I said, I did a previous Galaxy log with M77, and I'll do that with Galaxy log, because Galaxy log, a lot of it is about what the aperture of the telescope and the eyepieces, and whatever magnification and the sky conditions like that. So it's more about that. So doing M77 and seeing it with a smaller telescope, and it gave a great view. Now with a bit larger telescope, well, a lot larger telescope actually, and really getting some really good results out of it. And down the road, when a new 20-inch comes in, I'll do M77 and do a Galaxy log with that, because I should be able to pick up even more detail. But no, it was so good, and I was actually going to do another Galaxy instead, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this one, and because I was getting some really good results, and again, for certain times or objects, if you want to pick up some detail, especially if detail needs a little bit higher magnification, it's fine to do this like that. The old, as I mentioned before, when you go to view galaxies, sometimes trying higher magnifications can bring out some delicate detail that you may not see at low magnification. So in this case, like I said, I was actually planning. I looked at it with I first looked at it with a 16mm eyepiece. That really looked good. And then I went to a 12.5mm eyepiece, and it looked even better. And I thought, you know what? Let me. At the time, the scene conditions were actually pretty good, so I said, let me put the 3.5 in, see what happens, and voila, I got a tremendous view with it, and so that's what I decided to do, this Galaxy log, and put M77 in there, even though, like I said, I think it was like a year ago I did it with the smaller refractor. But yeah, this was just a terrific view. Okay, this is a summary of this Galaxy log. First, talk about the Darkseid and the skies that night. The Darkseid is my best local Darkseid. It's a little over an hour drive to the northwest. It's got good elevation. It's one of the highest points in this region of Pennsylvania. It's 1,750 foot. Here's a Google Earth at night of what it looks like. The Bortle scale, it's kind of difficult, really. A lot depends on how good the night is, how transparent the night is, or how I would really rate it. It's like, between a 3 and a 4. This night was probably more of a 4. But there's other nights where the transparency and everything is just come together, and it's like a 3. But yeah, this night the transparency was good, and as I mentioned, when observing the galaxies, that the seeing was not as good as I would like it. And so I had to wait for moments of good seeing, which happens if you're patient to get the best out of the galaxies. But it was overall it was a good night. Okay, for that first view of the night with binoculars, it was with a pair of Celestron 10x60. I don't think they make these anymore. I don't keep up with binoculars as much as maybe probably I should. But I've had them for a while, and I do use them once in a while, but not as much as I should. And this had a last moment idea. I'm gonna with the scope, I'm gonna pack up the binoculars, and I'm gonna see what Andromeda looks like with them from a darker site instead of my own yard, which this photo was taken. The mount itself is an old mount that was actually from my late father-in-law, who was a professional photographer, and it works really well with these binoculars. The legs extend really high, and it does. You can set it up for whatever height you need. It's actually perfect for these binoculars. So yeah, I got a great view of the Andromeda Galaxy through it. But yeah, I need to take these more often out when I'm observing. Easy to set up, even though I use bands for transporting my equipment. It doesn't take up much space or like that. So, like I said, it's easy to set up. So I'll have to do this more often. The telescope is my Orion Optics UK 12-inch f4, which I really like a lot. It's got good aperture. It's in a compact design, solid tube, really fine optics in it. And as you can see, here's my observing chair, and I like being very comfortable to observe with this telescope. And I think it really helps get the best out of whatever view you're doing. And for eyepieces, first for NGC 936, 941, and NGC 1087 is the Vater Morpheus 6.5 millimeter. Really a great eyepiece, outstanding eyepieces. I have also the 12.5, which I like a lot, and I have some club members, observing friends, that have some of the other focal lengths and really like them a lot also. So these are excellent eyepieces. For the high power view of M77 was the APM 3.5 millimeter XWA with a 110-degree field. These are really nice eyepieces also. If you can't afford the Ethos line, these are a great alternative. It gives really crisp images, nice big field of view. Eye relief isn't too bad. They're really nice eyepieces, and this eyepiece with a telescope that night gave a really great view of M77. Well, that's it for this Galaxy Log. Clear dark skies and happy galaxy observing.